What's up, everybody? Welcome back to an all-new Brent watch. Oh, wait, no.
No, you're not watching anything, just me.
Yeah, just you. Just you. How's it going, Jeff?
It's going pretty good. I got a little bit of a head cold thing going on right here. I'll do a little.
We plan to do this a little later tonight, but you text me like, I ain't going anywhere today.
Yeah, not feeling awesome, and so I wanted to get this done and all this stuff. I'm all prepared, right? Got all the supplies I need, and we'll get through this. And I have a mute button right here, so
dude, mute buttons are fantastic.
Yeah,
they're absolutely fantastic. So
they really are. How are you doing?
You know, cold.
Oh, really?
It's like in the mid-50s outside right now.
Oh my gosh, it's 33.
You suck. I had no way. You know, look, here's the thing. I totally get the idea of like, well, would you rather be hot or cold? Well, you always take cold because you can always put more clothes on and stuff like that. There's only so much. I get that. But you know what? Cold just finds a way to penetrate everything.
Yeah.
It seeps in and and I'll take being hot. In the modern day with ice and air conditioning and stuff like that, I'll take being hot over being cold. This is Fabio, 83 degrees Fahrenheit, right where Fabio is right now.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
My dude, Fabio. Nia says it's 5 degrees Celsius. I think that translates to probably about mid-30s ish. Yeah, maybe something in there. I don't know. Yeah. Ben says it's a nice 70, but in a couple weeks it'll be down in the 20s.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
'Tis the season.
Yeah. So, hey, we got a fun show planned for you guys out there today. And by fun show, we're going to pretty much do the same thing we do every week here.
All the time.
Although we only got a couple of these left, Jeff.
I know. We have one more episode of Crusade.
Yeah.
2 movies. 3 movies.
Yeah. An autobiography.
And then we're done.
And then, no. Then we get to start Babylon 5 for the second time.
Well, we're done with the first time.
Yeah. I'm so excited for Babylon 5 for the second time. I really
am too.
I'm so ready to get back into that deal. But we are here now.
Here in the States, we're just coming off Thanksgiving, and the meme and the picture of Londo on the table, has been making its rounds, and it's just like, God, I want to go back and watch that. But I've held strong. I am waiting. I'm waiting for you to join us on that journey.
Nia says, I literally posted the Fahrenheit degrees first, and she's right. She did. It's 41 degrees. I told you it was in that area. I knew it was in that neighborhood.
Ish.
Yeah. Ish. So, hey, real quick, want to give a shout out to our council chambers folks who are joining us. Ben's over there, Fabio, Nia, a few others. If you guys jump in, let us know that you're here. You guys, listen, you guys keep talking. We're going to catch up with you guys on the backside of the show as we go through this, for all the stuff we got. So you guys get that going. If you guys want to find out how you can get in on this, on joining us for these live recordings, go over to patreon.com/Babylon5First. That's, how do you say it? That's the
number 5 in the word first.
The number 5 in the word first. There, it's not a letter 5.
Maybe we should do a reaction to Sesame Street, Brent.
Or just watch it, period.
That too.
And learn.
But what do you say we start this bad boy?
I say let's start this bad boy. Hey, if you guys are joining us for the first time, welcome. What's about to happen? Jeff and I are recording an audio podcast. This is the behind-the-scenes video of how that happens, because we don't edit this video. Also a thing that's getting ready to come to an end, Jeff. Our days of God. But anyway, we don't edit this video, so you guys get all the fun rabbit trails. You get all the stuff that Jeff deletes out of the audio side when he cleans it up and makes it nice and pretty. You guys get all of it. This is the more fun show, I think.
I think so too.
I think so. All right, Jeff. Enough delay. Let's hit that button. Let's talk about the Well of Forever.
So what is to be gained by fighting?
Maybe nothing. Maybe a lot. I'd like to be the one to make that decision.
I want you to know that this thing just made a very large dent in my ship.
The year is 2024.
The name of the podcast, Babylon 5.
For the first time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time, not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin.
And I'm Brent Allen. You know, Jeff and I are two veteran Star Trek nerd podcaster dudes who had never seen Babylon 5 before. We're 30 years late to the whole deal. Well, we decided to take our podcasting stuff and apply that to Babylon 5 and over-examine it for all sorts of messages. And you know what we found out? It's a pretty damn good show. And we loved it so much that we decided to continue on with the spinoff show Crusade. And so here we are doing Crusade for the first time.
Just like always, we'll be searching for those messages that the series is trying to tell us. But don't worry, those are not Star Trek messages. They are sci-fi messages.
Right.
And to really, really demonstrate that, Brent and I play a game. You might have heard of it before. It's called the Rule of Three. It's a game that limits both of us to a total of no more, a limit of just 3 references to Star Trek per episode.
That's it. 3. One of those plays. No substitutions, exchanges, or refund.
And Jeff, what happens if we make one of those references?
Oh, people are going to hear their favorite sound in the world. Hey, Brent.
Hey, Jeff.
We have a 5-star review.
Oh, yes.
This one's from Apple Podcasts. Bus driver Buddha says, whether you're a seasoned B5 fan or you're just B5 curious, this podcast is a wonderful companion to your Babylon 5 experience. Jeff and Brent, 2 veteran Star Trek podcasters, are watching the show as spoiler-free as they can manage, sharing their impressions episode by episode. While they do make some references to Star Trek, they don't fall into the trap of comparing B5 to Star Trek.
I'm sorry, read that line again.
Yeah, let me say it very slowly here.
Yeah, it's louder for the people in the back.
While they do make some references to Star Trek, they do not fall into the trap of comparing B5 to Star Trek.
And everyone out there said, BS. Go ahead, Jeff.
They said. The next line's even better. But rather, they choose to engage with the material on their own terms.
That's true.
I myself am a longtime B5 fan. I started watching the show when I was 12, and it first aired here in Brazil. See, we had a delay of about a year with respect to the States. And I've rewatched it maybe 5 or 6 times since then. While I know this show like the back of my hand, these chuckle nuggets have nonetheless allowed me to see the show with new eyes, noticing details I hadn't seen before, finding the good in episodes I'm not so keen on, and pointing out flaws in a few episodes I love. It's all part of the experience. Keep up the good work, guys. Can't wait until you reach the end.
Hey, listen, bus driver Buddha, you have just written in, I don't know that this is number 1. It might be number 1, but this has to be a top 3 review we've ever had on this show.
Agreed.
Because you know what? You get it. You understand us. You get it. While everybody out there thinks that we're making all these comparisons back to Star Trek, and from the beginning, it's never been about comparing it to Star Trek. We just take that analytical lens and we apply it here, and then we're going to talk about Star Trek because that's what we know. But we also talk about lots of other genres out there. And kudos for the Chuckle Nugget reference. Although I don't know how I feel about Jeff being lumped into one of those.
I'm no Chuckle Nugget. I am not a Chuckle Nugget. My next t-shirt.
I get the one. I am.
Right.
Like, I'm not.
I'm with Chuckle Nugget with an arrow.
Right. But you know what I love about this though, Jeff, is Bus Driver Buddha says this is what I think what I hope for when people listen to the show is you're going to talk about reliving those first watches as you go through, but the finding good in episodes that I'm not so keen on and pointing out the flaws in a few episodes that I love. And the fact that Bus Driver Buddha can sit there and receive both of those things and not let them think we're just crapping all over everything and that we hate everything, because we don't. Like, I don't know if we can say we loved Babylon 5 beginning to end, even the bad parts. We loved it. So, you know.
And we'll prove that when we watch it for the second time.
Right?
Maybe.
Because who goes through these for a second time?
Or a 5th or a 6th.
Or a 5th yeah, but who does this for the second time? Are we the first? Are we the first one who's ever done a full rewatch?
Back to back.
Yeah.
like this? Probably.
Yeah.
I'm going to say we are.
Okay, let's go with it. Yeah. We're the only back-to-back Babylon 5 podcast.
B2B B5.
That's not going to be the new title for the show.
No.
Well, Jeff, you know what? Along with our game, the Rule of Three, and reading reviews and all sorts of stuff like that, there's another game we like to play at the end of these episodes where we try to guess what next week's episode is going to be about based on title alone. We don't read descriptions or look at thumbnails or anything like that. We try to avoid all the possible spoilers to it. Well, Jeff, this is where we revisit our prediction from last week and we see just how close we were. So, my friend, what did you think the Well of Forever was going to be about, and how close do you think you got?
I thought that Galen was going to be seeking out the wisdom of the techno-mages who had gone beyond. And that was part of his first pitch.
You got Galen, and you got Gone Beyond, those who had gone beyond.
There you go.
So
right?
that's 2 out of 3. You just said Galen, wisdom of the techno-mages who had gone beyond. You got 2 out of 3, my friend. I'm going to give that one to you.
I'll take it.
Very
what did you think it was
nicely
going to be
done.
about?
Oh, I said that this was going to be a time travel episode. Tongue in cheek, Guardian of Forever, Well of Forever. I said they were cousins. And this is going to be a time travel episode. I really hope next week's our final episode of Crusade. And while I seriously doubt that this is what's going to happen, I really hope it's a time travel episode.
That'd be pretty
gutsy. We haven't had a time travel episode yet.
Pulling out a time travel episode in the first half of your first season.
Yeah.
That's some bravado.
JMS has some serious sci-fi cred. He could do that.
He could pull it off.
He could do that. Although he waited till season 3 to do his in Babylon 5. So
and did it perfectly.
Oh, he earned it. Yeah.
Well done. Well, I think it was great how he did War Without End and the Babylon Squared thing all together and made it work. I'm curious though, Brent, if he made things work in this episode. For those who have not watched this in a long time or don't remember it, can you break down the Well of Forever for us?
A slow open reveals a shuttle headed towards the Excalibur. There's something familiar on the hull of the shuttle. It looks like a Greek letter, a trident of sorts. No, wait, it couldn't be. The Psychor is back. Okay, don't worry. This isn't Bester. It's just Mr. Jones, and Mr. Jones is here to do his periodic review of Lieutenant Matheson. You know, to make sure he isn't using his psi powers on any poor, unsuspecting, unfortunate mundanes, you know, reading their thoughts without their permission and stuff like that. This is all part of the result of the Telepath War. You see, every so often, the psi-powered people have to submit to this, kind of like getting your car emissions checked yearly. Moreover, as Matheson explains it, this guy is kind of like internal affairs is for a police station, complete with a pay and promotion structure that completely depends on catching bad guys, not just doing their job. So what could ever go wrong with that? Well, Mr. Jones comes in for the scan, and it's not nice. It's not nice at all. He's clearly probing deeper and harder than he should. Don't say it. And in doing so, he gets out of Matheson the location of their next mission, the Well of Forever. This should be interesting. All right, let's back up a few hours. Galen has come aboard the Excalibur with a cool-looking glowing rock. This rock, as it turns out, is kind of like a map to a mythical place deep off the beacon path in hyperspace. A sort of ancient crossroads where ancient cultures all came together to do stuff, and there's a really good chance that we could find something else to help out with this Drock plague. But it's going to be dangerous. And it's going to require both the Excalibur and Galen's ship, whatever its name is, to be tethered together for the duration of the trip. Whatever could go wrong with that? Well, the trip is starting to take a lot longer than expected, and the crew really wants to turn back to normal space, where it's nice and safe. Then they come across some life forms native to the region of hyperspace that they're in. Jellyfish. Very clearly jellyfish. Galen's fascinated, but he's not threatened. Just pass through them with the engines off, he says. It'll be perfectly safe, he says. They'll leave you alone, he says. He was wrong. Faster than a revved up 13-year-old boy passing by the naughty rack in the grocery store, one of those jellyfish
That was good.
One of those jellyfish reaches out with its tentacles and starts wrapping itself around the long cylindrical Excalibur. The other jellyfish see it and they want in on it. They too start getting some action. In on the action. Gideon is freaking out that they're trying to eat the ship, but they pose no real danger. There is this rhythmic thumping that clearly sounds like they're trying to take a bite out of the ship. Oh, wait. They're not trying to take a bite out of the ship. No, they're humping the ship. Which, I mean, who could blame the jellyfish, really? Because the Excalibur does kind of look like a very long and wrapped around.
Hey, Brent, come on, man. Not in front of the kids.
Oh.
Not in front of the kids.
Sorry. Well, that does it for Gideon. He wants out of here. The only thing is, Galen isn't so keen. Remember, their ships are tied together, and Galen says they're not going anywhere except to where they plan to go. Effectively, he's mutinying against Gideon, which is kind of weird because Galen's not exactly under his command, but whatever. And Galen's going to force them to go there anyway. Gideon gives Galen a piece of his mind, clearly not happy about it, but they continue anyway. Before long, they've arrived. This is a mystical place. Galen pops down onto some sort of piece of land thingy that has buildings and lots of fun stuff in it. Gideon follows. But before long, we realize what this place really is. It's full of minerals and treasure, and those aren't buildings. Those are tombs and mausoleums. This is a burial ground. Not a crossroads meeting of the minds, but an ancient burial ground where aliens of all sorts come to bury the dead. And Galen has come to bury his girlfriend's ashes. You see, in life, she was obsessed with this place, and now that she's gone, Galen has to fulfill his last promise to her, no matter the cost. Gideon gets it, watches a touching little ceremony, then it's back up to the Excalibur they go. Well, Eilerson is really put out because he can't grave rob the place for IPX. Gideon is put out with Galen, who comes to apologize, and they talk it out. They're friends again. And Matheson, well, he gets to put Mr. Jones out after Gideon lays a trap for him, using Dorina to plant the thought of a bomb on the ship. When Mr. Jones comes to alert Gideon, Gideon asks a simple question. How could you know? Unless you're doing the stuff that you're not supposed to do as a Psi guy. Hey, you keep this secret, leave Matheson alone. We won't tell anybody that you did this. And with that, we're back in normal space, and we're off to our final episode. Jeff, I have a prediction. I wrote it down.
Oh.
I put it in my Brent Watches video.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It is there as far as what Jeff thinks of this episode. Would you please now tell us what you thought of Well of Forever?
I didn't like this episode.
I would like to read my prediction now, Jeff.
Okay.
It says, Jeff, I bet you hated this episode.
Yeah. I mean, hate's a strong word. There's some
Right.
stuff I liked in this episode, but
Sure.
I really didn't like it. You and I were talking scheduling, but as we were leading up to this, and I said, I'm really, really angry that this series got canceled and we don't get the conclusion of so many of these stories. And I kind of can't wait to be done with this series. So we've had some stinkers, and this is one of them. And the thing is, I really like Galen. I like the character of Galen. I like the idea of Galen. And this was a really bad Galen episode. He lied. He eavesdropped on the bridge. He sabotaged their he held them hostage with the he made a bunch of these just nonsensical claims and told all these stories. It was a level of desperation out of him that, okay, here's the whole thing for me. It's not in his character to act the way he did. but it probably is. I think this episode is like a key episode in the arc of Galen's story that we don't get to hear. And so on its own, he just looks like an idiot and a jerk. Completely irresponsible. I can tell myself the story, of what happens next. This is the same girlfriend that we saw back in the forgiveness episode. So this is a thing for him. And I get it, but just because we don't get the next parts, it's just dumb what he did.
Yeah, I can see exactly what you're saying, if I may interject here, particularly going back to that forgiveness episode, because there was a whole thing where Gideon was trying to, she said, like, if all of this is true, I'm going to come back and tell you. And Gideon refused to accept it, refused to believe it. And so to have this be butted up against that, as you say, another stepping stone onto whatever his eventual journey was going to be, absolutely, it feels like it would have been that.
It was a good Gideon episode, though. I liked Gideon a lot in this episode. He stood up to Galen, didn't put up with his stuff. And then when he understood how much all this meant to him, he got out of his way and let Galen do his thing. But then he called him on it. And not only did he call him on it, but he called him on it from an elliptical. Because he is that tough. And like the relationship with him and Matheson had some really good growth in this one. And for some reason, spacewalking in hyperspace is apparently amazing compared to normal space. I don't know why, but because of Gideon being awesome, Matheson knows why. Yeah, it's better. I thought that was great. I thought the Psychor stuff in this one was, I was glad to have it, but also I was very confused. So Psychor doesn't exist anymore, and it's now the Bureau of something.
Right.
But they're using the Psychor symbol on their ships, wearing it. Like, I feel like the only difference between Psychor life and Bureau life is now the telepaths get to have regular jobs. That's the only difference. They still have people monitoring them. I'm sure they're still registering. That's like, is life really any better? Is it even arguably worse? Because now you get to go live your own life, but not really. Because they're going to show up and they're trying to earn, their promotions and stuff based on finding you. All I could think about while I was watching this was when Lita sent all those telepaths out and she's like, remember Byron, remember. Is this what she had in mind? Was a not Psychop wearing a Psychor logo who's not with Psychor showing up to like interrogate a telepath? What was the point of the whole thing? But yeah, I didn't like this one. It had some shining moments in it. I think it was part of a bigger story we didn't get to hear, but all in all, I didn't like it. Please don't tell me you did.
Jeff, you and I, more so than any other thing we have done together, Babylon 5, Stargate, and any of these other things, have been in opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to Crusade.
Agreed. Big time.
More often than not. We are there once again. I liked this episode.
How?
I thought it was a fun episode. I'm sorry. The absolute ridiculousness of the jellyfish scene.
Oh, that was incredible. That was incredible.
That was so funny. And it just, we know TNT is putting pressure on JMS to incorporate stuff. So we have seen what you and I suspect often, even through Babylon 5, when he is forced to do something by the studio, looking at you, Keffer, and what JMS does to those things that he gets forced to do by studio. And JMS has a level of snarkiness, of subterfuge that Sinclair and Sheridan and Gideon combined can't even measure up to. The way those guys solve problems. Of course, JMS is the guy writing their solutions to stuff because, man, he goes for it. But here's the thing. There really wasn't much to the main story of this episode. Like it was really thin. They added in several extra subplots, which I think all made it work together really well and kept me interested and engaged throughout the course of the episode. But what I found so compelling about this episode, Jeff, was I found it terribly introspective. And the meat of this episode, to me, really lies in the final scene between Darina and Galen. And we're going to talk about that in pretty good detail later, but where he's basically addressing the various questions that people had answered in their trip to the Well of Forever. We'll get to that later. They're great questions, though, that I think are much, much deeper than the normal questions or what they might have been on the surface. So overall, it was a good episode that I really enjoyed. And I can understand why you would be put out by this episode. I can understand why people in general might be put out by this episode, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my way through it. Maybe because my expectation bar for this series has always been way down here. And the series just continues to show me that it's better than this right here. So, but I think it's been good.
Okay. I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, every episode is somebody's favorite, and it's okay.
This is not my favorite.
Oh, no. Exactly. I'm just saying it's okay
But,
that, you know, that you like it. I don't understand some of this. I'm eager to talk about the questions at the end. I just want to read my note just to kind of let's foreshadow just a little bit. Questions that were answered, : ... These are some weak ass answers. Yeah, I have thoughts on how that whole thing was handled. But the Fen, though, that whole thing with the Fen, I have a whole section of notes on just the Fen, the jellyfish.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
And it's not even I mean, the hilarious part for sure, but I love the line when Gideon's like, is there any damage? Because if they got anything on my ship. But what I loved about this
is to take the Excalibur for a shower.
Right? Do we have a bleach hose? I just need so much bleach right now.
I need a spaceship car wash.
But what I found fascinating is just that idea of hyperspace as a place. We know there are like folds and stuff. The Vorlon used it to hide. The Well of Forever is a thing that is hidden behind a veil and kind of has a trajectory. There's life. Galen talks about, this is barely sentient. This year, they're attracted to bright and shiny objects. I felt like he might have been talking about a person as opposed to the Fen with that. But is there more intelligent life out there? That's unexplored territory within hyperspace. So I just was very fascinated by the idea that they presented.
Do you remember way back when they first started talking about hyperspace and just we're going to go hang out in hyperspace for a few hours and hide here? And we're like, that's not how hyperspace works.
Yeah. We got so many emails of just like, you don't understand. You're like, we did not. You are correct.
No, you're right. We don't. And we come at it with everything that we're given from other science fiction franchises, and we're trying to rewrite in our brains what this is. But you're absolutely right. There has to be more life out there. There has to be something out there that's more intelligent. Otherwise we wouldn't have a show.
Right. Right.
But there's got to be stuff out there. There's got to be places we haven't discussed. I mean, this could have been a backdoor pilot. There's aliens, there's locations all in hyperspace we've never explored that are way different than anything that we've got going on here. Like, could have set you up for it.
That could have been Matheson's spinoff, right? That moment he was spacewalking out there, he's like, this is my thing. This is my
he
place.
connects with
Well, especially because telepathic abilities are so amplified.
Yeah.
Within hyperspace. I liked, because we got that, back in Babylon 5 proper when they were going, to find, we got that from Bester, and we also got that from Lita when we were going to Zahadum to find Sheridan, what happened to Sheridan.
Right.
But they brought it up here. It didn't turn into anything in this episode, but it was just neat they brought it back.
So the spacewalk bit. Okay. He couldn't go into spacewalk with people because it would heighten his senses to such a point that he couldn't even control it, and he would just read the minds of anybody that he's out there with. And that would be a violation of the terms of the Psi agreements, right? he and Gideon are fairly close, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, I don't know. I fully acknowledge Gideon is a captain. He's got things in his brain that Matheson does not need to know. Probably codes and passwords and just things that he's not sharing with his lieutenant. All right. That probably exists. But just on a friendship level, I don't know who else Matheson is connected with on the ship. I'm going to say you, Jeff.
Oh, okay.
If you were a psi-powered person and I was just a normal old mundane, and we were on a ship out in hyperspace, and there's a rule. You have to go out by twos. You can't just go out with one. Like, you've got to go out. And you'd be like, man, I really want to do this, really want to do this. I would like to think that I would be like, come on, Jeff, let's go. I'll go with you.
Yeah.
And if you read my mind, then you read my mind. I tell you pretty much everything that's in there anyway.
Right. But I think I think it's the other side of that, though. I don't know that I would or Matheson would want all of that.
Yeah.
Because you're not just going to get the codes and the passwords. You're going to get that one time when I was 4, and then you're going to get all the stuff.
I went up to the balcony of the movie theater and I mixed up a bucket of fake puke and I dumped it over the side and it made a noise like blah, blah, blah. And everybody got sick.
You're going to carry Chunk's trauma if you go out there. And I don't think anybody wants that. But it is interesting.
I would at least offer. Let's put it this way. I would like to think I would at least offer. You can say no if you want to, but
I think I would like to think I would do the same.
Yeah.
Right. But I also think that I would not want it if I were the telepath. Which makes it interesting, the rule, right? Like the whole you can't do this. It's almost as if, well, no, it's not almost. It is completely as if society has already painted telepaths as like you are inherently bad. And you will do these things unless there are rules to stop you from doing them. But they're actually creating more bad.
Yeah.
In the creation of stuff. It just really bothers me a lot that there's no change from Psy-Corps to this Bureau thing.
Yeah.
Like it's the same, to the point that Mr. Jones, I also like, just from a storytelling thing, I like the idea that they're all Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
It makes it less personal when it's that way. But if you took every single word that Mr. Jones said in the way he said them and acted them and plopped those onto Walter Koenig, that guy was Bester.
It was Bester. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Also, that guy, Mr. Jones, is a repeat Babylon 5 guest star.
Is he?
He was the space zombie back in Spider in the Web. Abel Horn. Same actor.
When we got Bureau 13?
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which I thought was kind of cool. I thought that Daniel Day Kim did such a great job with the story, though. This, to me, was the most compelling story in the episode. And a lot of it was because of him. There was this moment when Mr. Jones came on board and he said something about, well, I'll see you later or whatever. And there was just this like fraction of a second shudder on Matheson's face. Just this thing. And in that moment, you could feel in the pit of your stomach the fear that he had, he like, oh my God, I can't do this again. This is going to be horrible. And it made me wonder, like, what was life for him? I mean, we saw a little bit of life for him in Psy-Corps, but I don't know. I keep going back to the same thing. Was it actually better for telepaths under Psy-Corps than this?
Yeah, so I kind of had this piece because I don't think it is. It does not feel like much is really that different. So we saw the Psy-Corps logo on his shuttle. Yeah. He was wearing the Psy-Corps badge. I feel like this is the first time I've noticed. I probably point this out every time I say it, like it's the first time I'm seeing it. But Matheson has the Psy logo on his uniform as well.
Yep, he's marked.
And I'm sitting here thinking about that, and I'm going, man, that feels to me a little bit like Jewish folks having to wear the Star of David on their clothes back in Nazi Germany.
Uh-huh.
You know, like,
Hey, go ahead.
Why would you have to wear that? To identify yourself as a psi person when you're around other normal people so that they know what you are? Like that's all sorts of
Yeah, go live your life. It's fine. Whatever job you want. Also, carry this thing around all the time.
Literally the entire X-Men comic book thing is based on, do you do that or don't you do stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Should you have to identify yourself around other people with that? And it just does not, it just didn't sit well with me that he has to go through that. And by the way, he's got to get checked to see if he's been doing whatever. Okay, can we talk about the idea that this guy's coming in looking for what you have done wrong?
Yeah.
And just in his whole livelihood is based on whether or not he catches you doing something wrong. Not that he's just doing his job, but that he's actually catching you doing something.
Yeah, it's a wild thing in life. If you tend to find the things you're looking for.
Sure you do.
Right? And even in this, like I had a note in here. I'm like, he said he made mistakes. What were the mistakes? But then later we found out it was just passing stuff. Like noise.
I said this. I mean, I had this as a note. I was like, making mistakes is not a crime. Perfection should not be a requirement for living. So to be a psi-powered person, to never catch a stray thought, to never whatever, to never even have these things enter your mind, that is not a requirement for living. And it should not be a requirement for existing.
Exactly.
Now whether it's what you choose to do once you catch those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you throw it away? Do you keep it? Do you store it? Do you go back after it? That is where we can talk about what you do later, but to just receive stuff, to just catch stuff like that, like and even still oh yeah, I did mess up. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I was driving the other day, right? Speed limit's 70, which in Florida means 80. Okay. And I'm driving and I look down, I was going 92 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I was like, whoops. I did not mean to be going that fast. I was just bebopping along in traffic, kind of doing my thing. And as soon as I saw it, I regulated myself back. Now, if I'd gotten caught going 92, would any cop pull out and give me a ticket at that point? Yeah. Would I have been well within deserving to get that ticket? Sure, I would. Hopefully they don't send me one in the mail now. Now that I just confessed that. But at the same time, like, I don't need people like coming after me, checking the history of my speedometer to see if it's ever gotten up that high to give me a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can adjust myself. It's okay.
And it's like, what happens? Like, it sounded like Matheson was afraid he's going to lose his job.
Yeah.
So, but what happens? Do you go live at the
jail?
bureau?
Probably not just his job, probably his freedom.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is this just like this pause and then away? Mr. Jones clearly was a psychop in the Psy Corps days. So it's just a way to get the psychops to go out and reincarcerate all the telepaths. It's just like this pause and whitewash over what Psy Corps was, and it's going to end up being bigger and worse as a result of the way they're managing the whole thing.
I'll tell you something else that didn't change from the telepath war, and I still don't like it. It still feels icky to me. Is this terminology that we use between the telepaths and the normals? I still don't like that separation, because it's still a dividing line. It's still a you and them, us versus them type situation,
Mm-hmm.
And who's to say that this is the normal?
Yeah, you don't get to say normal's not a great word to use. Full stop.
Right. And here's the thing. And I know that telepaths were put on and created by Vorlons, but if we understand it right, that was something that happened a long time ago and now has propagated through the species.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they're alternate. They're actively being genetically modified. Like, this is just how people are, and some people are born like that. And It's in the
And
DNA
as I
now.
understood it, it was happening like it would happen in time anyway. They
Right.
just basically, you know, took a couple
Accelerated
millennia
it, yeah.
fast forward to the whole thing.
Right.
But I did love Gideon trapping Mr. Jones. Like that was just
so
such
good.
a
So
power
good.
play.
Yeah. So good.
Especially when he comes in, Mr. Jones, oh my God, there's a bomb. Gideon doesn't even pause. He's just like, hey, here's what I did to you, idiot. You walked right in. You are a spider, and I am the spider in a web. Now, Abel Horn, what do you think about that? You walked right into it. Yeah, this was a great episode.
I said of that, it's like how very Sheridan and Sinclair of him.
You almost could say, it's how very, to your earlier point, how very JMS of him.
Right. Right.
Seems to be what he does. So apparently, Galen's on board. You know, he just comes when he wants.
Yep.
And I think clearly when he wants something,
Mm-hmm.
he wants a ride. Hey, Uber, Excalibur Uber, take me to this place. On a rock.
But
From a rock.
don't just take me to that place. Get out of the driver's seat and let me drive.
Use my GPS and I'll do it.
Right.
Like, I've got the whole thing. I thought it was fascinating, though, and this speaks to the power or the possibility of that hyperspace spinoff, and that's that the Technomage ships don't need the hyperspace beacons.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Which, why would they? Beacons are just tech. Mages
Exactly.
are above that. Like,
Uh-huh.
they're creating the tech. They're
Pretty cool.
So Galen comes in and he throws I'm sorry, let me back up just one more thing on the whole Matheson deal. I felt like you would actually really appreciate this. I really loved Gideon offering to help his guy. Offering to stick up. He's like, hey, listen, do you need me to do anything? I'll take care of this guy. And Matheson's like, no, I'm good. Which is cool, fine. But Gideon's also like, hey, I can do something here if you want me to. Like, I appreciated Gideon doing that. Like,
And as soon as Matheson said he was fine, Gideon was like, okay, you got it. You know, but yeah, it was, God, Gideon's just great.
he is seriously, he's a top starship captain in all of sci-fi.
Absolutely.
He really is. Gideon is one of the best, if not the best captain in all of sci-fi. And I say that ubiquitously across the genre.
Agreed. And I think that Gary Cole specifically brings so much to the personality of who he is. Like the writing and the character is great, but what the life he infuses into that character is just next level.
Can you imagine Gary Cole running this role for 5 years where the writers are getting used to him and how he's portraying it and bouncing new ideas based off of how he is portraying the role and what that would have looked like by the time we got to the end?
So many great stories.
Oh my gosh. You know, instead we get Gary Cole, you know, going, if you ain't first, you're last. And, you know, talking about copy machines and whatever, which those are hilarious. So don't get me wrong, but you know, this is his favorite role. There are so many of these actors. This is the favorite role that they've ever been in for me.
I'll bet.
David
For
Kim
you,
is
for
another
sure.
one. Yeah,
I think for them also, probably.
possibly. Yeah.
I
I mean,
wonder-
Walter Koenig says that Bester is his favorite role.
Yeah.
I mean, Chekhov is what puts food on the table, but Bester's what makes him smile.
He had more lines if you combine every line he had over decades of Star Trek, he said more in Babylon 5. Which is wild. Peter Woodward, I don't know much of his stuff. There was a thing recently. He just produced some movie that came out, and he had an Ask Me Anything on Reddit where he posed naked with the sign covering himself. But he looked great. Like he very much looked like Galen, just a little bit older. But I wanted to go listen to it or find some of his stuff because this episode made me more curious than others as to like how much of an affect is he putting on his voice as Galen.
Oh yeah.
Does he speak like that normally, or is that him enunciating clearly for magic sci-fi? So I'll find out eventually. I'll look it up. We'll see.
Well, he talks just like this.
It's pretty funny.
So he comes in, he's got a glowy rock.
Yeah.
That's going to lead it's a mystical rock that points to a mythical place that is a metaphorical book to give us answers to questions we haven't asked yet.
Yeah.
And you
great.
want us to just go? And my answer is, hell yeah, I do.
If your job is to explore strange new worlds and do absolutely yes. But what he did, this is the filthiest thing, it just got dropped and then it never came again. He's like, there's all this great stuff. There could be stuff about the Drakh Plague. He's like, oh, here it is. And then they never, at some point Gideon should have been like, where the f*** is the plague stuff? Like, there's
Well, I
nothing
also
here.
think it was pretty clear that like it was there might be something there about it. I don't know. We're just kicking over rocks right now trying to find anything we can. Like,
Yeah.
and this is a pretty cool rock to go kick over. So
I don't know. The whole is the idea. I have a hard time with the idea holding water, right? He mentioned like Stonehenge and Oracle at Delphi and stuff like that. So, okay, yeah, there's a precedent for this, but I don't know. I think maybe the idea of answering questions that we haven't asked yet is bigger than just dropping and then fully interrogating in one episode.
sure. I mean, but to be fair, he should have known from the examples he gave. Now, I don't know if you can go to the Oracle at Delphi. My understanding is that was a person, not a place. But certainly you can go to Stonehenge. And here's what I know about Stonehenge, at least in the modern world. Stonehenge does not provide answers.
No.
Stonehenge only creates more questions.
Yeah.
So
Especially when
maybe we
it's
should
in
have
danger of being trodden upon by a dwarf.
Yep. So Galen needs the Excalibur. The Excalibur needs Galen to be able to go do this. Here's a question I have for you. Is Galen's ship integrated with organic tech in any way?
Oh, that's a great question. So
I mean,
he
it doesn't
interfaces-
look like the Vorlon ship. I'm not saying the whole thing is organic tech, but does it have organic tech integrated into it?
The White Star had organic tech integrated into it. It didn't look organic-y. So like there's definitely precedent for it. It's a good question. That we'll likely never know the answer to.
So, you know what I love about Gideon? Where I always get a tickle out of listening to Gideon run one on Eilerson.
Yes.
And this one he goes, in deference to common sense and Mr. Eilerson's concerns, which somehow ended up the same for once. I've got my issues with the actor who plays Eilerson. It's a weird role to me for him. But the look he gave Gideon right after he said that was classic. It was
great.
so good. It's just
It's like, again. Allison got the short end of a lot of stuff in this one. I mean, he even told him to shut up at one point. I did enjoy what he had to go through for this.
Eilerson.
Yes.
Yeah. Only to get to the spot where like, yeah, there's treasure down there. There's gold and rubies and diamonds and sapphires. Yes, let's go. No.
Right. And Dorina's like, well, they have to honor. He's like, yes, you can absolutely. We'll preserve the place. We'll keep it great after we take all this stuff away from
to the museum. To which I then wrote this question down. What is the difference between a grave robber and an archaeologist?
a degree.
I had a professor of history once who said this. What's the difference between a fine piece of art and pornography? The price tag.
Mm-hmm.
And I always sat back and went, he's got a point. To your point, what's the difference between an archaeologist and a grave robber? A degree. There's a point there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, in theory, a grave robber is going to do what Eilerson's going to do and sell it and profit and do that. But archaeologists kind of do that too.
Yeah, but then they take it and put it on display for everybody to come look at.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I left this stuff down there for me to use in the afterlife, not for you to come grab it and do stuff with it. It's not an investment holding place. Like,
It's like I often tell my daughter when she grabs something, hey, what's it? It was just fine where it was before you came and touched it. Can you just put it back where it was?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just there has been this explosion, it seems, recently, like post-COVID, of them finding a lot of new like mummies and unknown burial places over in Egypt.
Yeah.
In that area. And every time that like they pull out, hey, we're gonna find out new stuff about this culture and about what's going on and all this kind of stuff. I'm going, none of those people buried this stuff so that future generations could learn about their culture. Like, and I get, you're going to take it and you're going to take it to the museum and it's going to be preserved and it's going to be, but you know what? The desert heat was doing a pretty damn good preserving it itself.
Yeah, been here for thousands of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we know that you don't want to dig too deep. You might find the Stargate, and that didn't go well initially. It ended up pretty.
You haven't seen the end of it yet, so.
Yeah, it's starting to turn out okay, but I don't think we're ready for the Stargate.
Probably not. Who says we don't have one yet?
Good point.
All right, I got a question. I'm going to change topics just a little bit here for you.
Okay.
The card game.
Yeah.
The whole card game scene. All right, I loved the scene, but the game 5-card draw is an awful game. Can we just agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
It is a pointless game. There is no skill to it. You have to shuffle way too often for what you get out of that thing. You know what I mean? You don't use the cards enough to be able to although I will say those cards highly impractical for playing games with.
Very. Yes.
You're gonna go to shuffle those things and you're gonna bend them all to hell, man.
I always love how they try to make future cards.
Uh-huh.
They had some a while ago that were cool, but these were not.
Did you ever hear about what happened with Battlestar Galactica when they started making all their stuff? So they made all their papers. Yeah, they took all the corners, right? Mm-hmm. And it was. Did you hear this about what happened with that?
No.
So it was a joke in the pilot episode where they basically took all the papers and they just cut the corners off of them, and like because you're cutting corners to make this show happen. Mm-hmm. So it was a joke. But when the show got picked up, they then had to keep with that same thing all the way through. I mean, that's like Londo's hair all over again. Like it starts as a joke and, well, you know.
Now we have a whole race of people that look like this.
Right? Thanks,
they had to do their cards and everything all weird.
Right?
I did love, though, how Darina cheated. Uh-huh. Gideon was okay with it. Uh-huh. And wanted to learn from her. Like it wasn't. He's just like, I gotta know how you did it. That was great.
Yeah, I just threw that card away, and you just laid it down. How? Also, why would you do that? I just laid that card down. I know that you just took it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think it's just part of the relationship there, where she's like, I'm gonna show you what I did, but good. Tell me how you did it.
So let's talk about Gideon and Galen.
Yeah.
And Galen mutinying against Gideon. And I'm of two minds on this one. All right. So here's the thing. Gideon, it's kind of one of those, like, I fully want to acknowledge Gideon is well within his rights to be pissed at Galen. Right? Like, well within his rights. What Galen is doing is wrong and should not be done. That being said, Galen considers the Excalibur his family. And Gideon has a incredible loyalty to Galen. You could almost say Gideon considers Galen to be family as well.
Agreed.
You know, at least metaphorically, right? Then it works both ways, if that's the case. Gideon could choose to support Galen here instead of just being mad at him that he took control of his ship. Hey, I want to leave. You're not letting me leave. I am well within my rights to be mad at you. Yes, I am. Also, family member, I see that there's something going on here, and this is really important to you. And I don't understand what it is, but this is super important. Okay, so I'm going to go with you on this. You shouldn't have taken control of my ship. But you're family, so I'm going to do this with you. And he could have chosen to do it the other way, rather than just, you took control of my ship and I don't like it when people do that to me.
I think it was more than that, though. Like, it'd be one thing if we just took control of the ship and he was upset, but they literally made a deal. Like, the deal was, we'll go check this out, Galen. I'll play your game. We'll go find it. And if we get there and there's nothing, we turn around, we come home. Deal? Galen's like, yes, deal. And then they get there, there's nothing there, and he's like, aha, I fooled you. I'm holding your ship hostage.
He's just like, no, we haven't found it yet. Okay, so it moved. This was expected. We're not done out here yet.
I think
we
that's
can't
a conversation.
say that it's not here yet.
I think Galen is responsible for that. I think Gideon was 100% correct to be like, no, dude.
Again, I'm not saying he's wrong, but he's absolutely within his rights to be like that. But what I'm saying is there was so clearly something going on with Galen here. There was something way deeper than I just want to go here and prove myself right. This is more than just I want to go explore. There's something really happening here. And you know what I likened it to? What it really stood out to me as? It's the menagerie from Star Trek.
When Spock just takes it.
When Spock takes the ship because he has some loyalty to Captain Pike. And he's not telling Captain Kirk where he's going or what he's doing, although he should have. But Kirk also, like, when you look and see what Spock is doing, you're like, something's going on here. Like, I can humor him and go with him on this. I mean, you and I do this all the time as podcasting partners. We'll send each other, hey, go with me on this bit, or track with me here with what I'm doing. And just kind of got to follow along with what you're going. I'm not sure where we're going, but we'll get there.
We'll figure it out real quick. Let's ride that metaphor though, because in the episode, Kirk kind of let him do his thing, right? He's just like, I can tell there's something here. We'll figure, I'll let you say your piece and figure it out. And Spock did. He said his piece. This is why I'm doing it, right? That was the whole point of the court martial and everything.
I was going to say, he did convene a court martial though.
He did. That's what I'm saying, but it gave him his opportunity to be heard. Because I think because Kirk relationship with Spock was, he'll tell his story. Like when he needs, he'll
exactly.
Has Galen done anything in the 12 episodes we've seen him in that would make you think that he would open up to Gideon about this?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And in the 12 episodes, we saw Galen rescuing Gideon. Having there is clearly so much that happened between the day Gideon was rescued and the war path. What was that first episode called?
Warzone.
There was clearly so much that's happened between them. And as we've seen Galen come in, Galen has proved himself to be right more often than not. I think of the Western episode, which I'm really sad that was like our second episode.
I know. It
was so good. It was so good. But there are times we have seen Galen where Gideon's had to trust Galen and it's worked out on the other side. So yeah, I do think that there's precedent for him to be able to trust Galen like this. Also, Galen didn't need to just straight up jack his ship and be like, no, I'm not going. Like, they can talk that out.
Yeah, and I think that's what set it all off for me was, like, they made a deal, and then he's like, no, I'm doing this thing. And what I've observed with Galen is he's the guy who is avoidant of actually answering questions, talks above people for things, whatever, until the thing happens, and then he's like, see, because I was right the whole time. And it's like, all you had to do was just say, this is the thing, and we all would have been on board. And like what you're saying is Gideon should have been, dude, just tell me what he's never told anyone what he's doing until he's already done it.
That's fair. But you have been through this with him enough to know that when he gets on the other side, like here's what you know. Galen is not putting the crew in danger unnecessarily.
I think they make the case that he was, though.
They thought he was, but Galen's protecting his people. He's pretty sure he knows what's going on. Even when they got a surprise humping by the jellyfish,
right?
That may have taken him back, but they weren't in danger. Let's face it. Let's turn on the thrusters and get out of here. Thrusting, Captain? Really? Talk about sending mixed messages.
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious. But yeah, and I think this is the thing. I think in so much of this episode, any string of logic doesn't complete. Like it's completely flawed. Because yes, you're right. Should have this. Yes, I'm right. Would have this. Nothing in this episode holds up. It's what we've had with a couple of these episodes where it's like, here's some ideas. Let's just string them together. And to me, it all came to a head at the end when Gideon was calling him out on it. And he was trying to explain, he's like, look, you know you can trust me. Look how hard I worked to keep this promise. To her, you know I'll do the same. But so what he's basically saying is, I betrayed your trust to keep her trust. So now you know I won't betray your trust. What? But you did. That's why we're here. Just didn't hold any water to me. And my big all caps note on here. Oh, I don't have the. Hold on. I need to use a different sound I don't have on here. The whole trip was just to spread her ashes? Are you serious? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was. I mean, you talk about a big disappointment, man.
Yeah,
like
even
really?
It starts sparkling. I'm like, oh, something.
Sure.
Nope.
And it's not even all her ashes. It's just whatever fit in this little vial. You know, yeah, or this little urn that he had wearing around his neck. By the way, that medallion he had. You remember a couple weeks ago when Chambers had the reject PKE meter?
Yeah.
That medallion to me was like the reject Indiana Jones medallion.
The Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. Like it, because when he pulled that out, I was like, oh, so help me if he sticks that on top of a staff to go find something out there.
It's so close though.
But yeah, he's burying his dead girlfriend. And I literally I called it as soon as he was pulling that out. I was like, oh my word. He's just here to bury his girlfriend. That was the whole deal. And here's the thing. And I think that was the point. Actually, it's right here in my notes. That was the point. I said, is Galen burying his dead girlfriend? Immediately, yes. That medallion is an urn. This episode is very reminiscent of the menagerie when Spock steals the Enterprise to take Pike back to the planet. I bet Jeff hated this. I thought it was sweet.
I will tell you what I thought was sweet.
What's that? When
he says, technomages know the 14 words that will make someone fall in love with you forever, but she only needed one.
One. Oh, baby.
Hello.
Baby.
And then when he was done, he says goodbye.
Aww.
Like that was very sweet. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. So this episode was another episode that had like 15 different endings.
Yep.
Did you feel that?
Like,
It's just like, oh my gosh. However, can we get to the last bit, the final scene now?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about the questions, right? Is this your messages piece?
Not really. No.
Okay.
Because it's not the message. This is, I just think something that got posed in the deal.
This is the poll in the tent for the episode are these questions. I agree.
Yeah. So he goes through and there's 5 people that he names. And I don't think it's a mistake that it's 5. He says Eilerson. Eilerson goes down there and he gets answered this question. Is there anything that I cannot have? He says Matheson would have had his answer had he gone. Gideon received his answer, but he wasn't listening, so he's going to have to get it somewhere else. Darina asks a question later, and there's an unspoken question from Galen in there as well. Now, when we're talking about questions, when we're talking about the number 5, I immediately come back to the 5 questions that this series wraps itself around.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 of which were introduced to us in Babylon 5. What do you want? Who are you? Where are you going? Who do you serve and whom do you trust? Now, assuming that each one of these people represents one of those questions, Jeff,
okay.
I'd like for you and I to take just a minute and sort of dole out who we think each question is representing. Eilerson is probably the easiest. Is there anything that you cannot have? That's
right. What do you want?
Yeah, that's what you want. Okay, so we're left with who are you? Where are you going? Who do you serve? That might be the second easiest. Maybe. Possibly. Oh, no, I'm sorry. And then who do you trust? That's the second easiest. Is who do you trust?
Yeah,
Because Dorina
Dorina's.
asks, is there anyone I can trust?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone I can trust? She asks that question.
Anyone I can trust where it's not about money or power.
Right. Right.
The other ones, though, Matheson, Gideon, and Galen, this is where it's where this construct fell apart for me.
Mm-hmm.
Gideon wasn't listening,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll have to find it elsewhere.
Okay.
Try
What
to-
is Gideon's question, though? What do you think? What is his question?
It's something with the Cerberus. Because they mentioned, he's like, I made this promise to that. And he's like, I made that promise 300 times, times 300, for 300 people. And then he was holding a little plaque thing for it. So it's clearly tied to the Cerberus.
And I think this question for Gideon has probably been something that, like, it wouldn't shock me if it was in the character Bible. This is the thing he explores again and again and again throughout the course of his story.
And it's what we've
Crusade.
seen. I don't leave anyone behind. I'll go after people. And so if we follow that line of logic, he didn't leave Galen behind
Right.
in this. And so somewhere in, maybe we already interrogated the answer to that question of, how should I have shown up for Galen or the people, and is what I did sufficient for the people on the Cerberus, for Galen, for the people that are important to me now? And that would that come down to, who do you serve?
It could be who do you serve, but I also think it very much could be who are you?
Because that's
Who
his
are
thing.
you as a person? Yeah. But it very much could be who do you serve? Although Matheson's really strikes me as a who do you serve as well. He would have received his answer had he gone.
But he did something else because he serves Psychor in this this question.
Is he going to serve Psychor, or is he going to serve humanity or himself or Gideon or his job? You can't serve two masters.
Exactly.
You'll love one and hate the other. You can't serve two masters. Which, if we go with that, so if we say that Eilerson is what do you want and Dorina is who do you trust, and we say that Matheson and Gideon are some who are you and who do you serve, and I that's how I'm interpreting it. It could be wrong because it wasn't super clear, but that leaves for Galen, where are you going? And let's think about Galen's story that we've had. He was with his people, got ejected from them, and he's just meandering around the universe now. Where are you going? What's your future? What are you going to do?
And I think that lines up with what happened in this episode even. They're tooling around space, doing whatever, and he's just like, oh, hey, guys, let's go find this thing. Just chasing the next shiny thing. That's a good good analysis of that. I was frustrated by I loved Eilerson's. Eilerson's from Go. I was like, this is great. With Dorina's, they got there. Eventually. The whole thing with Dorina's question started with like, you shouldn't talk in an open channel because I'm gonna eavesdrop on you. Like that whole thing just was weird and inappropriate, and I didn't like. But then he flipped it.
Can I ask a question about that real quick?
Yeah.
Did Galen have a bug on the bridge that he was listening to, or does he just have like super hearing that he can zone into what anybody is saying at any time?
I think he has a bug because like he literally had like the hologram
Thing and it,
come up, and I was like, no, not okay. And if that was only there for the purpose of him hearing her ask the question of like, is there anyone I can trust? Didn't do him any favors having that be the way it came up. But they got to the real question, and I think this episode in a lot of ways too. I'm beginning to appreciate Dorina's character's role in the show a lot more. She's not the Mary Sue, but she just has a naivety around things that allows different stories to be told and explanations to come up. And in this one, just that idea of, what can you trust? Everyone's after money or power. And that in a way ties to almost all the other questions, Eilerson and money, Matheson, Mr. Jones and power, Galen and none. Because that's the thing. I think what she got out of that is I can trust Galen because he's not doing this for money or power. He's doing it for love.
And to be fair, I think all 5 of them could have all 5 of these questions asked about them. But there's going to be one that they kind of emulate more than others, I suppose, is kind of really where we're getting there. So I don't know. But Matheson would have had his answer had he gone down. I want to know what that meant.
Yeah.
And Gideon received his answer, but he wasn't listening. Can we go back and see it again? Like, okay, what was it? Maybe I missed it too. What was it?
And if you know that he got it and you know what Matheson would have got, why are you not come on, man. Aren't we family? Aren't you supposed to help us out here?
You know what this feels like to me? You remember when, was it Lady Morella came to Londo and was like, you've got 3 more chances. You've already wasted 2. So don't pluck out the eye that doesn't see, and don't kill the one who's already dead, and don't feed them after midnight or whatever it was.
Pretty much, yeah. Don't get them wet.
Yeah.
And those 3 things to this day are debated as to what they actually were.
And JMS purposely does not answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
And rightly so, because it's better just letting it be debated.
And here we are again.
And here we are.
With the same thing.
Here we are.
Very good. Well, here we are. Brent, we talked about the poll in the tent of this episode, those 5 questions. Did you get any other messages out of this one?
There was a few. I think the whole thing with Jones and Matheson earlier, and I mentioned it earlier. He says that he's seeing a bunch of mistakes that Matheson's made along the ways, and it's disturbing. And I'll go back to what I said earlier. Perfection should not be a requirement in life. It just shouldn't. Things are going to happen. It's okay. It's okay. We don't have to go that way. I think there's a mirror to society. We use that as kind of one of our litmus tests here. And I'm sorry if this offends anybody out there, but it happens. At least it does in TV a lot. Police authority and abuse. Police authority, they should be held to a higher standard. They asked that question at some point in the episode. Like, no, you should be held to a higher standard because you're going to be, it's fine. You go out, you get scared. You want to go home at the end of the night. Everybody does. But you've got to maintain your cool at a higher standard than the general public or regular, there's got to be some sort of a higher standard there. But the biggest one that I really kind of caught with, and I think you could go into all sorts of stuff about trust being a family thing. We talked about that between Gideon and Galen earlier and all that sort of stuff. But I loved this. And I don't know that this is a message as much as just a reflection. And I've experienced this for myself. Galen says of his now dead girlfriend, talking about finding the well of forever, it was her dream. And because I loved her, it became mine too. Love does that.
Mm-hmm.
There have been things that I've had 0 interest in, but because it's important to my wife or because it's important to my kids, I now want to see it happen too. Brent doesn't personally care, but because of it affecting people that I care about, I'm now for it. It happens on the other side. I have a particular favorite football team that I support. My wife doesn't give 2 blips, but because it's important to me, you know what? Every Sunday she goes in there and she puts on her jersey and she comes and sits down next to me to watch the game. Now she's usually playing on her phone or reading a book or something while the game's on, but she's with me in it and she's wearing the gear. You know what I mean? So love does that. Yeah, I think everything else we've pretty much really talked about as we go through. Did you pick up on any that I might have missed here, Jeff?
No, it was really exactly what you said, especially the abuse of power.
Yeah.
The mirror in there.
Yeah, I think that one was just so, right up in your
obvious.
face.
That is the story of Psychor.
Exactly. So, Jeff, those are the messages I got. However, you, my friend, get a special task, and I kind of hate that you're getting to do this because, but you're getting to place this in our completely and absolute accurate 100% definitive ranking of the 13 episodes that exist that we call Crusade. So our current top 5, Jeff, I'll go from number 5, that's Appearances and Other Deceits. Number 4 is Path of Sorrows. 3 is Warzone. 2 is The Needs of Earth. And 1 is The Long Road. Jeff, probably not finding its way into the top 5 for you. That's okay. Where are you placing this one? Well of Forever.
I'm really feeling right now this like tension between this podcast that we do and our incredible Stargate SG-1 for the first time podcast.
That's a fun show.
On that show, I get to do the ranking myself. Like it's my ranking, right? And so it makes sense to me. I look at it and I can like retrace my thought pattern. And I look at this one, and you did a ranking that frankly messed everything up. And it's going to make this one go higher than I want it to be, but in the way things line up, it has to be. You put Patterns of the Soul at number 7.
Yeah.
It did not belong there.
Yes, it did.
And so as a result, it's not going to be there anymore. This episode, The Well of Forever, is going to be the new number 7, just above Patterns of the Soul.
Okay.
I enjoyed this episode quite a bit more than that one.
Okay. All right. Let's we'll just read the second 5 just for posterity's sake. Anybody out there who might be wondering. Our 6th episode right now is Each Night I Dream of Home. That was a good episode. I liked that one. Well of Forever, Patterns of the Soul. Visitors from Down the Street comes in right after that. And then Racing the Night, Memory of War, and Ruling the Tomb. Jeff, I will tell you, out of these 12 that we've watched so far, I think there are only 3 that I did not like. I've liked all the other ones.
Yeah.
Now, I think there's a dividing line between Each Night I Dream of Home and Well of Forever, which is the halfway mark. That's 6 and 7. You know, and I think there's I'm not saying that the bottom 6 are all bad. They're just not as that top 6, that's a good top 6.
Totally.
You know, that's a really solid top 6, but you know, 3 of those last 6 are really good episodes. I think you could make the argument for at least a 4th one being really good too. So
I don't know. I think of everything in the bottom half of this, the only one I would willingly watch again is Visitors from Down the Street. The other ones I just did not like.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because I really liked I liked 7 of them so far. And that's for a season 1, first half of season 1 of a sci-fi show.
You know, I think people, I mean, for a show that only lasted 13 episodes due to lots of shenanigans, and for a first season, a show that was very much still finding its feet. And you and I have been told there are a lot of ups and there's a lot of downs, but there's more ups than there are downs. Like, it's worth to watch. And I'm so glad we got to watch this. I don't know how often I'll ever return to the show just because it's incomplete. Like, how often am I going to do that? But I'm glad to have had this experience to go through it for sure.
We're almost to the end, Brent. That's it for The Well of Forever. And we have 1 episode of Crusade left, and then we're done with this entire series. We're going to watch that next week. It's called The Rules of the Game. And so to get this next segment into gear, I'm going to explain the rules of the game, which is, we know the title of the episode.
Right.
And we're going to guess what it's about based solely on the name itself. Brent, what do you think the rules of the game is going to be about?
You know, the Trekkie in me so wants to make a rules of acquisition reference here. I really do. There's no way it's anything like that. Rules of the game. I think this feels like Gideon in one last heroic, like, he's got to go all out to do something that needs to happen. We know the story's not coming to a close, so I'm not even going to wrap anything up there. But I think it's one of those, like, in order to get done what he has to get done, he's going to have to game the system a bit and know what the rules he's got to know the rules of the game. He's got to follow it to the letter, but he can manipulate it because he knows it that well. That's my guess. What about you?
I have a Star Trek thing too, that this is going to be, that's Move Along Home. Where they're going to end up in a game. No, I don't think that's what it's going to be, though. I think a very similar thing to you. I think this is going to be a Gideon and Darina episode. And whether it's building off of or building to that card game in the episode in the Well of Forever, but basically the same. These are the rules of wherever we are to figure the thing out. How do we cheat? How do we play around those rules? And Gideon and Darina are going to team up to do that.
I like that. Yeah.
It should be I'm anticipating a fun episode for this one. And we'll find out next week if it is or not. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us as we dipped into the Well of Forever. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave us a rating, leave us a review, like, do all the things. We might even read your review here on the episode, on the podcast. But the thing that you can do that really helps us out a lot and that we appreciate more than you can possibly know is to share this podcast with somebody who needs to fall in love with this show just like we have. So until next time, we're going to finish.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes. What's up, Brent? No. You're not going to do that, Brent. I've told you at least 1,000 times. No. Not going to happen.
How would you know what I was thinking unless...
Oh, hey, man. Just let's get the hell out of here. For audio listeners,
let me do my Psycor thing.
For audio listeners, I was reading his mind.
This is there you go. This is the international. I'm psychically doing something.
Okay, this or this.
I mean, or before that, you just go, pain.
There it is. That's what I love that they made that joke with Lita.
You're right.
Pain does. Yeah. When Babylon 5 became self-aware.
Right. Jeff, okay, I couldn't put this in the main episode because I do try to keep our rating being what it is. I'd never considered it until this episode, until we got the jellyfish humping thing. Hey, folks, welcome to Club 65. Club 65 might be a little more PG-13 today. The Excalibur does kind of resemble a big old long
it has
schlong,
a flared base.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a phallus is
there
really, it does.
Really does.
Never thought about it until this episode.
And it's interesting. Just, I mean, you can draw conclusions you will, but the fin latched onto the backside. So, yeah. I want to celebrate our self-control and professionalism in not comparing the jellyfish to Encounter at Farpoint.
It was in my note, but I didn't do it.
Mine too.
Yeah.
But we didn't because we're that good.
Yeah. I think that one, it would have been so obnoxious if we would have.
Yeah.
Like, that one would have really gone bad.
On that, we've got our Council Chambers with us today, and Ben says, if you think the Excalibur is phallic, we need to watch Lex.
I don't know what that is.
I'm aware of Lex. I don't know. I think what I know of Lex is that it's just like all the, hey, girls in tight outfits and sci-fi. It's just like all of them together.
Interesting. They're trying to call me on something I said during the show that we loved every bit of Babylon 5, even the bad stuff. Ben says, you loved even the bad parts? Even he who shall not be named?
Said bad parts, not terrible parts.
It's good. Nia actually chimes in with Brent loved Avalon. Got it.
Yeah, he did not.
No.
It
is possible I played that particular reaction up for the camera a little bit more than I should have. But again, I say
good.
Every reaction is a little bit played up for the camera because here's how you watch TV otherwise.
Well, Brent, we've had people tell us that's what we need to do.
They do. They really do. Just shut up. Don't talk. Don't react. Just watch it.
Just watch it
But
and
you know
enjoy.
what, Jeff? No, here's the thing. There are people that do that. There are people that take videos and like they put them next to the side. Like it's some video somebody else created. And then they're just on this side just doing this.
I'll tell you what, though. If people are
watching
into
the
that,
whole thing. And then when the video's done, they go off. And that is content stealing.
yes.
That's
like,
content stealing.
fair use is like you analyze a thing, talk about a thing, change a thing, whatever. You add your own value to the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you have like, a face like this, there's no value you're adding.
No. They like the idea of Babylon 5 back to back that has a nice ring to it.
And the logo could just be us, like arms crossed, standing back to
like this.
right. Yeah. Oh my God.
No, go the other way. Go the other way. There you go. Like this. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Just there you go.
There it is. We can go a little
Screenshot that. That's the new logo.
That's the new logo. Belly to belly, back to back.
There you go.
Katerina missed our council chambers last night meeting. That's too bad. She's also sick. Hi, Katerina. I'm also sick. It's great.
Sorry to hear you're sick. Hope you feel better soon, Katerina.
It's no fun. I saw the one
Nia
there.
pulls out Mr. Jones and Me. Mr. Jones. Awful song.
Totally sung that on my reaction.
I did too. I completely.
You can't
in
not.
my head. I didn't sing it on the reaction, but it's been in my head. Like, yeah.
Oh, here we go. We were talking about how normal's a not great word. Suzanne says we use typical instead of normal. Typical students, neurotypical. It's like that.
Mm-hmm. That's true. There's neurotypical and then typical. I mean, is that really much different than the word normal?
Yeah, because normal, I think, like you can be typical. Oh, I don't know. How typical. That's almost like how basic. You put a little stank on it. But I think typical has more of the. I think normal has standard tied to it. Like this is the standard, whereas typical is like this is what people are used to.
You know the thing okay, you Jeff would qualify yourself as a neurotypical person, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not.
You are not, no.
As we all know. Here's the thing. I don't know that I'd want to be neurotypical.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I don't want to be neurotypical. I want to have something funky going on. Like
Totally. I tell my daughter all the time, I'm like, you have a superpower. Don't like adapt yourself to be typical. Learn how to tap into your superpower.
Yes. And I pray, Jeff, that as she goes through life, she finds other people in her life that are so accommodating. It's people who get it like you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you put up with my crap all the time, man, and I cannot tell you how much it's very much appreciated that
But
you just let me be me.
And this is the thing, and I actually use our relationship when I talk about it, because like there are times where like I might be super busy at work or whatever, and you hit me with a text that's just like, hey, pull this random thing out of nowhere that we've never talked about before, but like I need this thing right now. And what I know is if I take the 15 minutes or whatever to find that thing and send it to you, incredible stuff is going to happen from that point forward. Like there's already a fire there. I just need to drop the thing on it. Cool. Like
Let me roll.
yeah, I'd be a fool to not do that.
Yeah.
But so many other people are like, oh, you just got to do it. This is not scheduled for right now, so why are you doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like this one. Another great one from Suzanne. If all I do today is watch Brent and Jeff Crusade and SG1, it will be a great day.
Hey, we got an SG1 episode that came out yesterday, so
Yep.
there you go. I like Fabio put this in the Excalibur. John Lovett said Peter Woodward is acting.
Acting. Yeah, I think he is quite a bit. Oh yeah, another good one here. Gideon and Galen relationship is kind of like Picard and Guinan. You don't really know what it is, but you know that it's deep.
Yeah.
That's a really good comparison.
Yep. Just between two dudes, like who are clearly like they're broed up. Like they could fight and then go have a beer and be awesome. But they also could still fight. Like
and it's gonna fight nasty and dirty.
Right.
Yeah, here we are, just kind of. It's fun for all of you, right? Watching us read comments,
watching us scroll. Well,
right?
That's all we're doing. And you and I are in like two different places here.
Totally. Which is it covers more ground that way. So.
So this was the other one. Suzanne says, because I compared it to the Menagerie. I also compared it to Amok Time in my reaction video as well. And I felt the Menagerie was a better comparison, but definitely Amok Time when Spock had to kind of take over and Kirk was like, dude, something's up. We got to I can't let him keep the ship. Like, this is my job, but we've got to take him and go do. And to your point with that, Jeff, they both needed to talk it out. Galen needed to actually tell Gideon, here's why I really need to go out there. Is because of this. And this is my last promise. I have to do this. It's going to be okay. We're not going to, and I mean, Gideon might've said no, but
I doubt he would have said no.
No,
I think if he explained, even if he said, look, I made a promise to someone who's really, really important to me and it involves going here, I have to follow. Yeah. I'd bet everything Gideon would be like, okay, let's do it.
Also, is there potentially something there at the Well of Forever that could have been used to solve the drop? Like, had they been able to explore it a little bit and, don't touch the treasure, leave that there. But had they been able to do more, was there anything there to do to explore?
I had a theory about it that we didn't get to dive into, but the shape, like the design of it, looked like a neuron. Like when you see brain
I was
neurons.
trying to figure out what, I was thinking is it like a ribosome inside of a cell or something? But a neuron, that works.
So which made me think, is hyperspace like
a brain? Somebody's brain?
Yeah. Or is that, life is different, obviously, and so was this a life form? But we'll never. That can be our fan fiction. We're the Hyperspace Chronicles.
The Hyperspace Chronicles. Suzanne took control of my ship like Kirk and Spock did. Nia says this. That she said last night, Fiona Avery just doesn't know how to write one ending.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Fabio, our guy Fabio. Love Fabio. Fabio, missed you last night, buddy. He's like, I love this type of nerding. I'm assuming that came out while we were discussing the questions.
I hope so, because that was good nerding that we were doing.
That was good nerding. That was.
I'm glad that you drew that comparator, because I think I was overly focused on my disappointment,
right,
in what happened. Yeah, he says yes.
What? You can get overly focused on disappointment and miss other stuff that happens in a show.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
I wouldn't know anything about that.
No, wouldn't at all. It never happens.
Midnight. Nia points something out that I've often had a thought, talking about gremlins, the rule of don't feed them after midnight. Midnight where? Like, how does their physiology understand the actual time of day down to the minute? Like, if you cross time zones, do you keep getting an extra hour?
What if the gremlins don't observe daylight savings time?
Oh, good point.
Right? It's a cultural thing. And
or you go to I don't know, Indiana.
Right?
Where they don't have daylight savings time.
Or Arizona.
Which is wild to me. That you could just have a couple states where we're not going to do that. And time is literally different there.
Because time, Brent, is a made-up construct.
Yet we all know what it is. So here's the other one is, when can you start feeding them again? I've often had that question too. Is it sunup? What's the...
Is it 12:05?
Right.
When does it happen?
Right. Jeff, you get Nia?
I do. I get people.
There you go. So, all right. Those are our comments. Hey, Council Chambers, thank you guys so much for joining us here today.
Always glad to have you here.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping in at random weird times. Cause it's the only way this works, Jeff. Like, you know, life is too chaotic.
That's for sure. That is for
So,
sure.
All right, I think we're gonna get out of here. You guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much. Hey, cannot describe to you guys. For those of you who are here, also for those of you who will be watching this later on Patreon, you guys have no idea how much you are making this show happen right now.
For real.
Like, this would not be happening if you guys weren't out there. It just wouldn't be. So, thank you guys so much. We can do this because of you.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. So, that being said, and Fabio says, yes, we are amazing.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you for putting
well
that
said.
up. I
Well
saw
said.
that. Yes, you are amazing. Agreed. So lots more to come. Babylon 5 for the second time is on the horizon. And here's what I can't wait about Babylon 5 for the second time is when we have Council Chambers in with us.
Yeah.
And you guys are able to talk to us, and we may have to revise our not talking about it till the end of the show and actually just have the comments up as we go and comment on things. And you guys are pointing stuff out to us as we are watching the show as well, to go through it. So
yeah, it could be a lot of fun.
you guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much. I can't wait to get to that part either. Suzanne cannot wait. So with that being said, we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
See ya.